Hello, hello. Yeah, how's everybody doing today? Doing a quick impression of the wonderful Blessing2. So, let's see here. So today, Blessing2, quick impression. I'm actually running it off of the TT2, Chord TT2 because reasons. And I'm also using Cobuzz for the stream. So jump right into it. I'm going to start with one of a couple of friends' favorite jazz bands, or one of favorite jazz bands, the Go-Go Penguins, and jump from there. So with these are pretty interesting IEM. They're pretty popular right now, and hard to get, but they're kind of like the best bang for the buck kind of IEM. And you can kind of see they stick out a little bit far. I kind of mentioned that in the previous stream. They kind of have a nice. They're not my favorite for comfort. A little bit too deep. But other than that, the sound though is pretty interesting. They actually have a neutral bright, I'd say. This Go-Go Penguin track is pretty interesting because it's the piano and the percussion of the drums is pretty good. And the bass is actually surprisingly pretty good. Hey, what's up, Dush? Right on. Thanks for stepping in real quick. So these are for bang for the buck. I think these are pretty decent price. And they have, I mean, honestly, I haven't really fault them for the sound signature at all. A little more, they're definitely leaning more towards the highs being a little more neutral bright. The bass isn't bad though. Like, it's definitely there and it sounds decent. Let's see here. Yeah, it's nothing screaming at me is really incorrect tonal balance, that kind of thing. Let's see here. Yeah, so far so good. Liking it. If there's anyone in the chat, anyone me to try any songs with these, let me know, and I'll see if I can find them real quick. So right off the bat, I'm actually using the Asla Sedna tips with these. So they're, I don't know if I get a good view of these or not, but Asla Sedna tips. These actually sit a little bit too far in my ears for my personal liking. It's big, yeah, Taryn. It fits pretty big. They're not the most comfortable IEMs for me personally. They're not horrible, but they're definitely a big IEM. And they actually have a pretty deep stem too. If you can kind of get an idea there. Well, block the eyes. Come on, you can do it. And it's not wanting to play nice. Here we go. There you go. So you can kind of see that stem is pretty. It's pretty long stem, so it inserts pretty far in your ear, which I think is part of my issue with these as far as comfort goes. It's kind of interesting, and it's actually really cool looking. I don't know if I can get this to populate properly. But you can kind of see in the stem like the tubes and how they kind of move through. So that's really cool being able to see like the drivers, and then like see how they actually go along the stem into the tube, or out into what your ears would be, your ear holes. But they're definitely, for me personally, not the most comfortable. They sound really good though, especially for what's up, Chrono? Make sure I have these on right. Yep. Especially for like this type of music, like jazz and stuff. They sound pretty great, and I'm not getting nothing too crazy for tonal balance being off or anything like that. Pianos sound really good. I'm really liking actually like the snare stuff. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a less detailed. I'm trying to think what would be an example of. I wouldn't say it's quite U12T like that similar thing, but like as far as the snares, like I like that they just sound pretty crisp, and the bass is actually surprising, especially the stand up bass. It has a nice tone to it. I grew up with a bass player, big stand up bass player, electric bass, all that stuff. So I'm hearing the strums, and it sounds generally accurate to what I recall what a stand up bass would sound like, or a bass guitar. So yeah, they sounds really good with jazz. And with that, I'd probably say acoustic would be another good one they would sound pretty good with. Let's go into what's this? Maybe this one. Wild Rivers kind of feels all right. It's acoustic, kind of folk kind of band. The guitar sounds really good. The vocals sound good. Good. It's treble good. Mid's good. Lows okay. No, but the male vocals are. I like the way they sound. They have a nice bounce to them. They're kind of real mellow. Yeah, I'm not getting any peaks or anything like that. Nothing crazy there. Not that this is a very peaky song. And bass is definitely taking a back seat, but it has a nice sound to it. So kind of fun. It has you can actually kind of get that strummed thump of a stand-up bass, or like of a bass guitar, and then the drum too, the bass, like that thump, but it's not like in your face. It doesn't have like a slam, or it doesn't have an impact, but it's there. Fink blueberry pancakes on it. Don't mind the clicky clacks. Let's see here. Nightwish, oh man. Haven't heard Nightwish in so long, Taryn. Oh, this is good. Martin, this is pretty cool. I like this. Like the intro anyways, like the you can hear the stage is definitely in your head. It's not like a stagey, I mean, IEMs of course, but I mean the audience, you can hear them. They're it's definitely like closed in your head. Yeah. It's not doing the greatest with image separation for this track. It's getting a little bit muddied together, but nothing not horribly. I'm gonna scan forward here, get some vocals. No, that sounds actually pretty good. I would say that it's lacking a little bit in the low end, and it's getting a little bit, not quite muddy, but it feels like things are blending in together a little bit too much. Not enough separation in the instruments. But it sounds good. I like the vocals on this too. And the drums are really have a nice little sparkle to them, but they're not like to the level of what, like, say even a mini mest. I think had a little bit more snap to it, I guess, maybe, from my recollection. But it sounds pretty good. I'm gonna put on some Nightwish. As far as comparing to an Andromeda, I mean, it's definitely pushing up to that level, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the quality. It's I would say it's like a mini Andromeda, actually. Like, that makes sense. Like, if like the mini mest is the mini mest, this, I could see this being like a mini Andromeda sound for sure. But I would say the Andromeda has a better low end, and better. So there's that, and I would say it has a little better detail for the Andromedas, for sure. But I could see where comparisons are with this to the Andromeda, because it does have a similar like sound signature, and it. But yeah, definitely the Andromedas are better. But I mean, I would hope so, being the price that they are. All right, so let's see here. Nightwish, End of All Hope. Are you gonna hurt me right now? I haven't heard Nightwish in years, man. Let's see here. The question is, do I go live? Let's go live. It's still it sounds good. It's Nightwish, so it's really fast. It's doing okay keeping up with this, but it's definitely, the image separation is definitely an issue. Yeah, you're welcome, Zen. It's definitely having like definitely the Andromeda would be able to keep up a little bit better with like sorry, I'm talking loud, so no. And Andromeda definitely would be able to keep up. It's a little bit faster for sure. But these are, I mean, performing admirably for that. It's just, it's definitely a little bit, the image that's probably my biggest gripe right now is the separation. It's not as clean as I'd like, or crisp, or whatever you want to call it. And vocals sound good. Tonal balance is decent. I mean, I said it before in the mini mess review or impression. Like, these would probably be the best IEM you could get for performing really high at a really decent price, if you can get them. Yeah, it's hitting. It's and the dual vocals when they're going is definitely bleeding a little bit together with the male and female vocals, and it's just a fast track. Let's see what else I can do here. Let's find a slower track to maybe think about here. Any classics? Like, do you want Africa by Toto? Let's see here. Or more new age stuff. Here's a fun one. A little more bassy track. This is Rag and Bone Man, Human. And see here, the sound is a little bit, the separation is good here because it's slower of a track. And his vocals are more forward. It's just looks like it's a little bit better master version too of a track. The bass is decent. It just doesn't, it's lacking impact. So it has like that, you're getting bass sound, like boom, boom, you know, but it doesn't have the impact that I would like, or like the punch, I guess. Let's see here. Taryn, the London Grammar, hey now. Ooh, the tone right off the bat with the piano is really nice. It has a long pull on it. That's actually pretty cool. It's definitely, the stage is like in my head, but it had this really cool. But like when the percussions come in, it was like really quick between my eyes. It's like sounds good. Her vocals are really good. Yeah, so I would say like if you're looking for a fun IEM with a more neutral, bright sound, it's not even really that bright. I could see where it could be considered bright, but it's not. Like, it isn't like a very bright IEM at all. But I like, if you like more vocal forward stuff too. Like, I think this would be something to really fit into that realm. and it's kind of an easy listen, and it sounds. I mean, I'm not finding too many faults with it outside of the fitment for me. Has good extension with her like her voice when it's coming up. It isn't going into like sibilance or anything like that for me right now. And the bass is a little more impactful here, but it's not. It's still not that like punch that I would want from even like the Andromeda 2020 has more. Stock cable sucks. That's it's not horrible, but it's definitely a little janky. It's short as all get out. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not my favorite cable. And sucks is probably a strong word. It doesn't suck. It's just not my favorite thing in the world for build. You can kind of see it's like, I don't know if like it's pretty. Let me see. I can turn on my other camera here, and you can see how I'm listening right now. To get an idea. Let's see here. Might lose the song here, but so that's how I'm listening. The wonderful chord, which is surprisingly really good with IEMs in low gain mode. It's a little bit noisy with these ones on certain tracks. I'm picking a little bit of crackle here and there. But no, overall, really, really good. And yeah, like, so this is, to get an idea too, like this cable from that, it's like, which is not even an arm's length to the cord here. So the cable's short, a little bit, like I said, like it doesn't really quite, like, I don't think I have it. I put it away. Like it doesn't have, like that ease of like kind of looping. Like some cables have a really nice, they can loop real easy to like store away. Like you can see, like it doesn't want to to loop naturally. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Turn the hey now. Let's see here. More fun random track. Oh, here we go. These ones can be a little bit potentially. This is a pop track, and they can get a little sibilant. What's up, Ant? Listening to your Blessing2s, my man. Thank you. And I put a link to your review of them in the description below. So if anybody wants to see a more in-depth, proper review, please hit the link below. It's Antdroid's review of his Moondrop Blessing2s. And so right away, the guitar on this track is definitely pushing more into that bright realm. And yeah, her voice is a little more bright. Not quite sibilant, but it's definitely with these. It's definitely pushing into the realm of not quite where I'd prefer, but it's not bad. Like I could easily listen to this and be fine. And then the guitar has a weird, like it's just the track I think too. But with these, it's presenting a little bit more. But the guitar has that like almost not tuned properly sound, if that makes sense. And it has a little bit of weird vibrations going on with the guitar. Let's see if I can find another interesting track that might not necessarily be the best recorded maybe. But yeah, staging is definitely in your head. Let's see what this, can't remember what this track is. Another guitar. And so the background with the Hugo TT2 is these are sensitive, so I'm getting a little bit of the hiss with this track. But bass on this with the drum is a little more impactful. I'm getting a little more of the thump that I would prefer in the long run. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would say these are like a baby Andromeda 2020 probably is pretty good, pretty decent explanation of it, or comparison. I would say these are great to like scale up like scale up from. Like these would be a great, not really entry. I mean, entry for the price they are, but they're still a couple $100. But yeah, I would say from here you can grab them and move up. Yeah, Army would be dead silent. I'm having a weird issue. Last Rhino, my so for some reason OBS and my RME is being not playing well together. If I have the RME going, OBS won't work. If I have OBS going, the RME won't work. So I need to figure that one out. I don't know what it is. So that's why I'm using the TT2. Because otherwise I can't show you what I'm listening to, and I can't even play audio when I have OBS going. It's kind of weird with the RME. So I'm going to probably have to reset the RME, probably unplug it, and then plug it back in, figure that out. Etienne, what's going on, my man? So yeah, so these are definitely an interesting IEM. Like they're for the budget friendly. Like they're, I can't find fault for the price, if that makes sense. Like these are pretty fantastic for the price. Like I would be hard pressed to find a better IEM in that price range, even under $500. The Mini Mess would be definitely kind of, depending on how you want to listen, kind of deal. But these are like half that price practically, or just shy, I think, maybe, or a couple $100 less. So in all truth, I'd almost say get these and then save up for a higher end one if that was your thing, or go for headphones, or even if just these are perfect for just walking around. Like I'm more of a, if I'm listening to IEMs, I'm walking around town, or I'm at a coffee shop, or I'm doing chores, or I'm doing other things where I'm not really trying to focus in too much on listening. Like I want to have good background noise, or I want to have something to listen to. And these would fit that. If they fit, like me personally, they don't fit my ears the way I would like, so they're uncomfortable for me. But sound wise, and if they fit your ears, these are really ridiculous. Yeah, blonde. Apparently, I think the only blondes I have are the ones you let me borrow, and I haven't even listened to them yet. I think they're the BLO Blonde 5s. Yeah, Blonde 5. So I still need to listen to those. But I hear the Blonde 3. I think, is that the one that everyone rants and raves about? But yeah, no, these are pretty great. I'm probably gonna. I think I'm sending them up to Taryn, right, for him to try out next. That's the reason why I did this stream today. Touche. But yeah, for just quick impression, I think that if you were just kind of wanting to have something to play with and run around town, or just have a nice little IEM that works great and is good enough and fantastic for the price, and definitely hits above its pay grade, the Blessing2 definitely fits that bill. But I mean, we have some other stuff that's, I mean, they're constantly coming up with like more and more cheaper and better IEMs constantly, almost monthly, it seems like. Not that it's in the same, I mean, it's almost in the same price range, I think. Ant, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you have the Legacy 3s, the Legacy, which are pretty good too. I have those. I need to give those a listen too. But then you also have the Legacy 5. Actually, see if I can get that to. These are interesting because they're hard to get the picture, but there's actually a really cool, like almost like they're black, but they have like a galaxy. I don't know if I can even get them to show. Like sparkle to them. It's like a really cool, like reds and purples, just right underneath the surface. I don't think I can get them to populate there. Kind of see it there. Yeah, Blessing2 is 320. Thank you. But I mean, there's a lot of other options that are definitely coming up that are you have to really keep up on top of things with the IEM world, because they're constantly one-upping each other with price to performance. So a lot of the audio stuff is doing some really cool stuff. And then, but yeah, for that, I think mostly though, for 320, yeah, for me, these were pretty dang good for 320. Like, I'm trying to think of any other IEMs that I would want other than like these for sound signature wise. And I'm having a hard time. I think the Legacy 3 was pretty decent for what it does for its price. But I think these might have a little better tonal balance to them. From memory, I have them here, but I don't think I've even opened them up yet to listen to them again. But from when I listening to them the first time, they were I think that would be the other one, another competitor. But yeah, so I think that's really the gist of the Blessing2 is that they're they're good enough for what I would personally want to use them for, which is general use, cheap, not worried about not cheap, 320, but they're cheaper than an Andromeda. They get you almost there. Lacking a couple of things. Fit isn't the greatest for me, but that might be an issue for some people. You might want to replace the cable with something a little nicer. It's not really expensive. You can get stuff like the Ken Boofy stuff. I think Ken Boofy for like $10 to $20, which easy, cheap cable, feels good, looks good. Yeah, so that's it. And I'm also using Asla Sedna tips. I think I mentioned it earlier, which are my new favorite tips. So yeah, that's I think the gist of it. So if anybody has any questions or want me to listen to anything else real quick to see what I think of that track, I will do that. Otherwise, I think we will call it a day. I just wanted to do a quick impression of these so I can get them up to Taryn, and then I'll be doing I'll do another one of these here in the next couple of days or so, or next week, with the Legacy 5. I also have the Clairvoyance, which is a fantastic IEM. These are really great. I really like these a lot, actually. So I'll do another one of these with those, and then with the Legacy 5, and then I might even just do a Legacy 5, Legacy 3 back to back. That might be it might be a fun one to do, so I can get these back to Ant. And then I think outside of those things, that's all I really have for IEMs. Heading up, coming to the next sections. I might do a TT2. Not this really review, but just a TT2 overview in comparison to, like, let's say the Bifrost 2 versus Enfonitor versus the TT2 standalone. Maybe that might be a fun one to do in the future, and go from there. So unless there's any other questions, just want to do a quick run through of the Blessing2 and my impressions of them. They're treble good, mids good, bass okay, stage not good. Right. Jokes aside, though, they are pretty decent little IEMs for the price, and they are good. And I think that most people would be very happy with these. So yeah, I think with that, I'll let you guys go about your day. And we already had a long stream earlier on the headphone show, so I'm gonna get back to doing my other stuff. Last Rhino, Bifrost. So it'd be great to hear how it's. Yeah, I'll do the Bifrost 2 versus the. I've already done that before, the Bifrost versus the ADI2 DAC. I did find the Bifrost was better than the ADI2 DAC as pure DAC mode, but the all-in-one features of the RME beat out the Bifrost 2, if that makes sense. But I think as a pure DAC, the Bifrost beats the pure DAC section of the RME ADI2 DAC by a small amount. So anyways, with that, I will do the TT2 versus the Bifrost, and we'll do that another date. So all right, everyone, it was fun, and thanks for jumping in with me, and I will chat with you guys later. And also, I have the stream